What's up, everybody? Today we're looking at my recent pickups. So, recent pickups volume 2. And, yeah, there's not that many. So, it's pretty similar to the last pickups video, I guess. Less than 10 games. Not, but yeah, I got some pretty good deals. So, I'm not complaining. So, yeah. Let's start us out. We'll start us out with the first one here. We've got Castlevania, Lord of Shadows. And this game I got for a ridiculously good price. It was like 1,500 yen, which is pretty cheap for games in Japan at least. And I don't know, I played the demo for this and I thought it was alright. Like, I didn't think it was great, but I didn't think it was bad. And I figured once it got cheap, I'd pick it up, and 1,500 yen is cheap for me. So I picked it up. And actually, I haven't played a Castlevania game since probably that Castlevania 64, which was kind of bad, but I think I remember liking it at the time, enough to play through the entire thing at least. But, you know, in hindsight, it's not so great. But the PlayStation 1 I played also, which is Symphony of the Night, maybe? I don't know. I don't remember. But, yeah, that one was good. But the 3D one on the Nintendo 64, yeah, I think everybody knows it's not so great. But this one hopefully will be at least better than that one. So yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Okay. But next we've got some original Xbox games. We've got this one right here. Anyone who can read that, it's Genma Onimusha, which is the updated version of Onimusha. So I actually played the original on the PS2, but I guess this one has extra content and it looks a little better. I don't know. But it was ridiculously cheap. Like 70 yen cheap. Like, that's cheaper than buying a soda in a vending machine. So I couldn't pass that up. Onimusha is a great game. I haven't played it in years, but it was great when I played it, so I'm sure this one's fine. And next we've got one of my favorite fighters of all time. And this is Capcom vs. SNK 2, which, if you haven't played, you should really play, because this one is probably, it really is one of the best fighters of pretty much ever. It's got a great cast of characters, a lot of people from SNK's games, and a lot of good Capcom characters, but mostly Street Fighter characters. Yeah, I guess the Capcom side could have been more fleshed out. There could have been some better character choices. But it's still like, you know, it's mostly Street Fighter, but it's a fighting game, so who cares? It's pretty good. But yeah, this game is a must-play for people who like fighters. And really, if you want to play an example of a good fighter, this one is a good choice, because it's got a lot of depth and a lot of different ways to play. So, it's a great game. SNK, or Capcom vs. SNK 2. And let's see, we'll move on to some PlayStation games, original PlayStation. And this one is a game that is really kind of close to my heart. It's one of the first like point-and-click adventures I played, and it's Darkseid, which I don't know how familiar people are with Darkseid. To me, it's like a classic. I love this game, absolutely love this game. And I first played it actually on the Amiga, and eventually I also owned it on the Mac, which was like, you know, there was no games on the Mac at the time, so it was like totally awesome to have Darkseid, which is one of my favorite kind of classic point-and-click adventure games. And the hook for Darkseid is that it looks great. It still looks great, even now. And even though like the graphics are kind of pixelated, they're all designed by H.R. Giger, who does the who did the design for the original Aliens and Species movies and truckloads of disturbing books and things. But this one, Darkseid here, was never actually released in outside of Japan, for the PlayStation at least. It was released on PCs only in the West. But in Japan got a PlayStation and a Sega Saturn release of this, which is it's actually only the text is in Japanese. The voice acting is still English. So if you want to import it, it's not terribly difficult to play through. But still, if you can't play it on the PS1, definitely find it on the PC if you can, because this is a great game. Darkseid. Let's see. We've got more PlayStation here. We've got Parasite Eve. The original Parasite Eve here. I haven't played this in a long time, but I remember really, really liking this game. And it's just a great game. I mean, it's kind of action-y RPG, and I'm sure everybody has played it by now. But if you haven't, Parasite Eve is something you have to buy. You have to get this game. And if you're in Japan, it's 100 yen, so I'm sure you can find it for the same price pretty much anywhere. So, cheap and good. And next we've got Bushido Blade 2. And I've never actually played this one. I played the first one a lot with friends because it's kind of like a casual fighter in the sense that, like, anybody can win at any time. It doesn't really require a ton of skill to like pick up a win every once in a while. So it's fun for everybody. But there's still a lot of depth to Bushido Blade, and it's too bad that the company who made it and Sony had some kind of falling out, which prevented them from making any more sequels to Bushido Blade. But I'm sure this one will be, even if it's more of the same of Part 1, it'll still be good. So, Bushido Blade 2. And we've got a classic here, Dino Crisis. And, tank controls and all. It's still a fun game. This is like the kind of game that I wish they would do a update for, in the same way that Resident Evil 5 is. Because Resident Evil 5 is, I think the gameplay is better suited to something like Dino Crisis than it is to Resident Evil. So, Dino Crisis in the Resident Evil 5 engine would be great. It would be probably the best Dino Crisis ever. But who knows? Who knows? And we've got another one here. This one is another Japanese-only release here. It's called Dark Tales. It's kind of I guess it's like a visual novel, but it's it's mostly kind of quick time events and random choices and decisions that affect the story. So it's like Choose Your Own Adventure, but horror and Japanese and a game. So yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. There's it's creepy in the sense that like it's so empty and weird. There's almost no characters, and there's I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's actually like a pretty interesting game, considering like the lack of actual gameplay. But it's fun. I like this kind of game. So that finishes up the PlayStation, and actually this is the last game. It's a Nintendo DS game, which is totally rare for me. Which actually it's maybe my fifth DS game since the DS launch, which is pretty amazing considering. So I actually got the DS on the launch day, and I have my fifth game I'm buying today. Well, not today, yesterday, but I'm showing it to you now, and it's this game right here, Devil Survivor 2. And the original Devil Survivor I really liked. It was actually the game that got me buying DS games. I mean, I haven't picked up a DS game before Devil Survivor for 3 or 4 years, so getting this was a must-have, I think, since I really enjoyed the first Devil Survivor. So, Devil Survivor 2, I'm not sure when it comes out in the US, or if it even comes out at all in Europe, who knows. But when it comes out, you should probably pick it up. I've only played about an hour of it so far. I picked it up yesterday, as I mentioned. But it's so far pretty similar to the first Devil Survivor, obviously with different characters and a more expansive map. So even if it's exactly the same, I don't care if it's exactly the same, with just a slightly different story, good enough for me. I'll play it all the way through 3 times. Good enough. So that'll end today's pickup video. I don't know what I'll do next. I have some ideas for some review videos, but I'm not sure if I can do it with this crappy camera I have, which is just attached to my laptop. If I had an actual camera, I'd probably be more prone to making better videos, but for now it's just going to be like this, which is just me sitting here. So until then, I guess we'll have some more videos similar to what I'm doing already until I can, find out some better camera options. But until then, see you next time.